Let's play this clip, which I think is Mamdani on Schultz.
Yep, we got it.
Like, I also think this idea that like New Yorkers are going to flee because of a 2% increase. It's like, I've been everywhere else. You're not going anywhere. Bill Ackman's not going nowhere. He's going to be in the Hamptons all fucking
There's
summer.
only one place to write those tweets.
That's it.
New York City.
Exactly.
Every character you want.
AC goes out in July in Miami. You sweating writing tweets? There's no way.
He's spending more money against me than I would even tax him. Every day it's like $1 million. Like $1 million. I'm like, Habibi, I don't even want that. You're going above and beyond.
Okay, but so I don't think anybody's moving, and I honestly feel that way. And like I'm in the tax bracket. We're going to tax more. Like, dude, if you're going to deliver all this shit for 2%, give it. I'm 100% supportive. It makes life easier for New Yorkers. This is my one identity in my entire life is a New Yorker. It's the thing I care the most about. But what I will say is that I think that there are going to be people in government that are going to try to restrict you from doing that. And I know that you're aware of that. So I'm like, how? And there are people that might disagree on economic policy. We can have like a philosophical discussion about like what economic policy works. I don't even know if, I think that's like a waste of time. What the fuck do you do when special interest groups are going to be lobbying like crazy? They're going to say, I want to build 200,000 units. And then the second you try, they're going to be like, well, not in my neighborhood, I don't.
Yeah. I mean, you have.
How do you do that?
You have to be ready to take on these fights. You cannot be naive to
it
the
right
fact.
now. Special interest groups are.
But I mean, it's. I appreciate the point
please.
because there is a reason why we haven't had progress. Right. If you look, for example, at the Department of Education, this is the agency we spend the most amount of money on in any agency in New York City.
Yep.
Of the $40 billion we spend about $10 billion on contracts and consultants.
Yeah.
Those are a lot of people who are looking forward to the renewal of their contract.
No, it's to educate you nerds at Bronx Science. Some of us dumb kids that went to regular public school, we don't need all that money.
Where'd you go to high school?
Baruch College.
He goes in to call out
McKinsey, yeah.
Where, like how they brought in McKinsey to consult on how to design a trash can, and he's like, of course they're going to fight me when we tell them they're no longer needed.
I mean, he's just so personable and good at this, but he also is able to go into any room and he has the courage of his convictions and doesn't treat voters like people that need to be manipulated and changing everything he's saying based on who the audience is or throwing one issue over one group of people under the bus to create some sort of like perfect message for what's perceived as like a right-wing podcast or it leans right or whatever. He just goes in there and he was like joking about bench pressing and making these guys laugh so hard. He's very talented, but it's also just like, make your argument and these guys will follow. People are looking for something in terms of just like a strength of vision right now.
Here's the McKenzie bit, if we want to just play this real quick.
Yep. There are people making money off the status quo. And so there will be a lot of interest in retaining that status quo. Yeah. Right now, the city of New York will pay McKinsey a few $1 million to design a trash can. McKinsey's not going to be happy when I say we don't need you to design that anymore. We can actually design that ourselves. The Second Avenue subway, which is the most recent extension.
Okay, but still.
What does he say about the Second Avenue subway?
Schultz completely derails him because,
of course.
They get into some locality argument about how I guess people from Manhattan don't like the Second Avenue subway.
Okay, well, regardless, like it's just, I mean,
I wonder why that might be.
Right. That first
where
line,
does the Second Avenue subway go?
Harlem. But I mean, that Zohran's been making that point, and good for him for not backing off of it. But like that first line about how he's spending more against me than I would tax him, I hope other Democrats are listening to that line. It's a very, very potent one, I think.
He's given a playbook.
Yep, he should.
I would also say, like, the idea of capital flight from New York City because of a 2% tax is completely absurd. It is completely absurd. First of all, they instituted a millionaire tax in all of Massachusetts, and the only thing that has happened, there was two things that happened. One is it raised billions of extra dollars for the state. And the other thing that happened is they got something like, 200 more millionaires in the state from after implementation. I'm not saying it's because of that, that they got 200 more millionaires, but it clearly, they didn't lose any millionaires in the state. And 200 is 200 more is plenty. Don't say like, well, there could have been 10 that left. Good riddance.
They're threatened because people want to live in New York City. That's why they're freaking out. It's because they have no intention to move because it's New York City and they don't want their taxes to go up. So the threat is it's the most abusive like partner logic possible. And I was curious about how the Schultz fans were reacting to this. First of all the comments are glowing. And then it was just recommended to me on Reddit. I saw his like Reddit page and people responding there. And it's like, the way these fans of the show think, they say he's like the Democrats' Trump. You know, he basically it's about how he's authentic and he speaks directly. And I knew that might upset you when I saw that, but like that's where it's this perceived authenticity. Obviously, Zohran has actual authenticity, but isn't that crazy that the Democrats allowed that to happen?
By accident, yes. In fact, they're still attempting to not allow that to happen. But I meant about Trump allowing him to present himself as outside of the party establishment and somehow more authentic in that way. Like that perception still exists, and he's been in politics for over a decade. But I think the thing with the bro podcasts, why they respond and their fans respond to both Trump and Mamdani goes back to like if the fundamental sort of aspect of conservatism that has been sold over the past several decades is this notion of do not doubt yourself. Mm-hmm. Any doubt that creeps into your ideology, into your worldview is problematic. That was like Rush Limbaugh hit this over and over again. It was almost like, divorce from politics. And what are those creeping doubts that can come into the minds of people during the past 40 years? Hey, should women have the same rights as us? Is like maybe a gender is not as defined as I thought it was, or maybe what's the big deal if two people get married, or there's no other system other than capitalism. I mean, the whole thing was do not doubt, right? And so if you think about it as confidence. Trump gets on these shows and is in these situations with an immense amount of confidence. That's why also like Sanders does very well in those situations because he's so like sort of single-minded that it comes off as he's completely confident in what he's saying. Mamdani has that same thing. And this is why he resonates with these sort of bro podcasts. And I'm not, I'm agnostic as to whether that's, it's a good thing because he should resonate with everybody. But the reason why he's able to do that in these contexts, and the reason why their fans respond that way is that it's only confidence. They have no other ideology other than like, I'm here and I have confidence and that I'm right. And if somebody walks in there and sells them something 180 degrees different than they did yesterday, but they do it with confidence, they'll buy it. And they'll completely buy it because they have
but would they buy Gavin Newsom? I don't know.
Does Gavin Newsom come off as confident though?
I mean yeah, but not in what he's selling. I mean, like the confidence that emanates from Zohran is the courage of his convictions and his belief. Like, I agree. Yeah.
But I think, to me, Newsom comes off as having swagger, but not necessarily like confidence.
I think he reads as disingenuous by everybody.
I just think if AOC were to go on there, it would be a very different situation.
I think the commenters, but I have a feeling that AOC would also put them in
But I'm just trying to make a point that the perception of authenticity too is like gendered in that specific context as well.
I think that's probably true as well because one of the things that they don't want to have to contemplate if you're a 17-year-old boy is like, can women be, am I competing against women too? Like, I mean, that's sort of feeds into that. But I'd be curious. I feel like if there was someone who could go into that situation and exude that level of confidence, I think they might be afraid to have her on, to be quite frank, because
it's a lose-lose.
She might say, let's actually, it's a lose-lose.
Yeah.
It's a lose-lose.
Yeah. But it is, I mean, it just shows that you have to make your argument. This is a more ancillary conversation, really, because I think it's more than just this podcast space. It's about what wins people over, and that is having a confident and clear and coherent message. And, you know, that being one that, you know, I think liberals can't really get behind because everything is focus tested. And
'Cause what is the
class
world?
is the number one thing we need to be talking
What's
about.
the utopia that liberals want to create right now? I'd say like the best, like the more, even like non-socialists, but progressives have some kind of world where it's like, you know, maybe Medicare for all or something like that. What is the world that like these people are wanting to go towards? Like Zohran has one. It's clear. Even Trump has one. It's a white nationalist,
Right.
police state. What is the one that Cuomo or even Kamala? What world
Yeah.
are they trying to take us toward?
A bad plan beats no plan.
What do you always say? Loud and wrong,
Yep. Or strong and wrong.
strong and wrong.
Strong and wrong beats quiet.
Unlike Mamdani, I didn't used to rap.
Hey, folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.